Hi there, Quincy Corb again. I've got another story to tell. I'm not sure how I want to do this one, so I've been kind of thinking a little bit about maybe setting it up differently than I usually do. You know, I've done a lot of things, I've said a lot of things, I've gone a lot of places and done many things that I'm sorry for, many more things that I'm not sorry for. But there have been times when I've gone out and I've done things that landed my butt in trouble, where I would actually get into lots of trouble. I would get into all kinds of trouble. One time, eh, well, this one time, okay, I managed to get something for somebody that they wanted. Now, this was in 67, 68. This was when people were coming back from Vietnam. More people were going, but lots of people were coming back from Vietnam. They came back with gunny sacks full of stuff, their stuff. Sometimes it was the government stuff. Um, Even on the old MASH TV series, Radar sent a Jeep home, piece by piece. Anyway, I got something for somebody. He was a friend of mine. He was a pimp and a member of the Black Panther Party. But we were friends. We used to smoke weed together and talk, and he needed things for his girls that he couldn't get that was of good quality, and so he would come to me for that. He was being harassed. He had been arrested for I think he had 44 kilos or something like that, and he got arrested. I came by that day to visit him, the day after he'd been arrested, to see how he was doing, and he was shocked that I was there. And he goes, the police were here and arrested me and hauled things out of here. And I said, oh, yeah, I know. And they're driving by watching your house. And he goes, yeah, yeah, they are. He said, so why are you here? And I came by and I said, I just felt like maybe you needed a friend to come by and say hello and see how you were. And he goes, well, that's really nice. Did you bring anything? I'd like to get high. And I said, well, I didn't bring anything because I figured the police would be driving by. But if I remember right, didn't we smoke hash here the other day? And he goes, yeah, yeah, you brought some hash over and we smoked some hash. I said, well, anytime you smoke hash someplace, there's always going to be more hash that you've dropped, especially when you're shag carpet. And he goes, man, the police just vacuumed this place out, getting everything up and out. I said, trust me. And I dropped down to my hands and knees and I said, were we smoking right by here? And he goes, yeah, we were right there by the breakfast bar. And I said, okay. And I started looking around on my hands and knees. And I come up with a little chunk of hash. And I set it up there and I said, see, I told you. I knew there was going to be something here. And he goes, yeah, but they've taken all the pipes and everything. How are we going to smoke it? I said, do you have a needle or a pin? And he goes, no, not that I can think of. I said, how about a butter knife? And he goes, yeah, I have a butter knife. I said, well, give me the butter knife and a lighter. And he goes, yeah, I've heard about this. Okay, maybe we can do that. And I said, yeah, I'm sure we can do it. So he got me a butter knife and he handed me a lighter and I put that little chunk of hash right on that butter knife, heated it up, getting the low battery notice, heated it up until it started to smoke. And then we just passed it back and forth and we got high that way. Now, we were friends for a long time. And part of the reason that we were friends was because I did that. I went by that day and I was a friend to him. Got him high and got him happy. Now, later on, um, I had gotten him some explosives in a machine gun. that people had brought home from Vietnam and taken from Camp Pendleton. Um, Long story short on that, somehow some of the hand grenades that he got from me ended up being thrown underneath police cars that were harassing girls in the bars. And so we made headlines for a few weeks in Long Beach, California. And this was about 1968. I think altogether there was an undercover van blown up. There were a couple of police cars that got blown up in the middle of the street. And then the garage, police car garage, got several grenades tossed into it, blowing shit up in that garage. And the heat was on. No question about it. The heat was on. I told him that. And I was already heavily being watched. I was in lots of trouble of my own. I had my own heat. And that heat I didn't need, and it came on. But as time went on and as things went on, I got really, really, really happy and tried to just slough it off. He came by my apartment one day and or one night. I had called him up and I told him I had some crank for him. I don't like it. I don't use it. I don't like selling it. I didn't like selling it even back then. But I had a friend that was in a jam and he sold me some and I wanted to get rid of it as fast as I could. So I had him come over and I told him that it was good. It came just right straight from the chemist just before the chemist got busted. So I put out a little teeny little dot for him and chopped it up. And he goes, "That's not enough." And I said, "Yes, it is." And he goes, "No, it's not." And I said, "Try it, please." And he bent over and he snorted it. And as he snorted it, he threw his head back and he went all the way over backwards, did a flip down onto his back on the other side of the bed. And blood started coming out of his nose. And he goes, "That's the strongest shit I've ever tried." And I said, "It just came from the chemist. It's eating through the plastic it's wrapped in. It needs to be put in glass and covered. Don't put anything aluminum anywhere near it. Give it a chance to air out and get some of that acid chemical out of there." And I cut him a good price because I got it at a good price. So I gave him a decent deal. Not 2 weeks later, I found out that I had the police next door to me. They had moved in and set my place up and were tapping my phones and tapping conversations. And the person that told me was dating the daughter of the apartment manager and heard what was going on. So he came and told me. And I said, "Okay, thank you. I appreciate you telling me." He came by 2 days later and he goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you outside." And I said, "Okay." So we went outside. And he goes, "Here, I've got this box for you. Now, I'm telling you, they're getting ready to bust you right now. They're not in their apartment. They've all gone someplace to a meeting. So I went in. I've got all the tapes. I've got all their books. I got everything that they have written and taken pictures of and all of that shit. It's in this box. Take it and get the fuck out of here." I said, "Thank you." I put the box in my truck. I went back in, grabbed the rest of my shit, locked the door, walked out, put it all into my truck, and drove out of there. Never went back to that apartment. Now, the place that I went to, I ended up with a whole world of shit and ended up being arrested for blowing up police cars and selling machine guns and hand grenades and stolen government property, destroying government property. I mean, everything they could think of. I got arrested. I was on the news. It took me 5 days to get out of that. And then I got rearrested a month and a half later, and that took over a year to get out. I did 3.5 months dead time before I was able to get bail set because they said I was a threat to society. Um, Now, looking back on it, I was only 22 at the time, 21 or 22. And now, that was 50 years ago. I can sit back and think about it. The whole consequence of it was that I did time served and got 4 years probation and 9 counts of probation violation dismissed. Long story, that'll be another separate issue I can tell you about at another time. But the reason I'm telling you all this now is I just wanted to give you another little story, another peek into my life, a little bit of what's going on. When I was in jail, I met Quincy Jones. I met Gene Wilder's brother, Jerry, um, several celebrities. That was when Charles Manson was arrested. I listened to him being set up by Bobby Bouzoulet when Bobby Bouzoulet got arrested for driving around in Gary Hinman's car with the murder weapon in Gary Hinman's blood-covered wallet in his pocket. He knew he was gone, and they were going to give him the death penalty. He knew that. He was trying to figure out a way to get out of that. That those are the kind of the things that I learned while I was in jail there in L.A. County. It was in the old Harbor Jail. Fuck, I forget the name of the jail right now. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know, hey, I am a nice, non-violent person. Now, there was a time. There is always a time.